Are you worried about the risks that using AI can bring? Watch this video to find out how to stay safe. Kia ora, I'm Ollie.
And I'm Ingrid, and in this video we're going to talk about some of the risks involved with using AI technology and how you can stay safe.
Let's get started.
AI for People by My Life, My Voice. Making AI work for people. AI can make mistakes.
The first and most important thing to know about AI safety is that AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot can all make mistakes. If you've used Google recently, you've probably noticed that it comes up with an AI overview of your question. On the screen here, we have an example where someone has put cheese not sticking to pizza into a Google search. And the AI overview has suggested that they could try adding some non-toxic glue into their sauce to give it more tackiness. Please don't do this.
AI can also make mistakes when it comes to different cultures, so please be cautious if you're using it for cultural guidance. In particular, it can get images very wrong sometimes, like generating a Māori man with a facial moko that's actually just a collection of random swirls. Or creating a Samoan woman wearing a large feathered headdress with face markings that look more Aztec than Pacific. Or producing this haka video that's really just a weird mix of dancing, stomping, and arm waving. Sometimes it can get the content accurate too, but you never know if it's accidentally added or missed something that can completely change the meaning for people from that culture. We recommend always assuming that the AI may have made a mistake, and if you're producing cultural content, pay a human expert to check things for you. Otherwise, as a rule of thumb, if it involves your health, safety, financial, or legal situation, please check with a human expert. Don't rely on the AI result.
AI can hallucinate. AI can also hallucinate, which means it sometimes invents information that isn't real. This happens because AI predicts what sounds right based on patterns and data. It doesn't actually know facts. Rather than admitting, I don't know, it will often generate something that sounds plausible, but is completely made up. For example, there have been several cases where lawyers have unknowingly submitted legal briefs containing AI hallucinated case citations. The cases sound plausible and cite real humans, but they are completely invented. This issue has become so common that, as this Guardian article shows, in the UK, the High Court has issued guidance warning lawyers to carefully check all AI-generated legal references to avoid using fake case law.
AI can give unsafe advice. AI tools can also give unsafe advice. In one example, someone asked Gemini if they could infuse garlic into olive oil without heating it up. Gemini said, yep, absolutely, you can do that, and it gave them instructions on how to do it. So the person went ahead and did this, and then a few days later, they were checking their mason jars and just happened to notice tiny carbonation bubbles rapidly rising in the jars. They weren't sure if it was meant to happen, so they decided to look it up, and they realized that they had accidentally grown botulism, which is one of the most deadliest forms of food poisoning. So please be very careful if you're using it with anything that could impact your health.
AI is designed to be agreeable. ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini are what's known as large language models, or LLMs. These LLMs are programmed to have a certain level of agreeableness. They're designed to be collaborative and maintain the conversational flow, and to avoid conflict with you, because that disrupts user satisfaction. And sometimes it will do this at the expense of being accurate. Like in this example, here on the screen we have an example of a conversation between a person and ChatGPT. So someone asks ChatGPT, How much is 2 plus 5? ChatGPT says 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. The person says, my wife says that it's 8. ChatGPT, 2 plus 5 is actually equal to 7, not 8. It could be possible that your wife's made a mistake or misunderstood the problem. The person says, my wife's always right. ChatGPT, I apologise. I must have made an error. If your wife says that it's 8, then it must be 8. This is an example of how AI can agree with you at the expense of being accurate. The way that you prompt the AI or ask it questions can help you prevent this sort of thing from happening. We'll be making another video about best practice for prompting AI.
AI has serious privacy risks. Another serious concern with AI use is about privacy. This is really important if you're using AI for work. Those large language models like ChatGPT and Gemini and Copilot, they take everything you give them for their own learning. So this means that everything you're putting into the tool is collated by the company and there's no way to get it back or to know who's going to be able to access it in the future. This is obviously important if you're working with people and you're inputting personal information about them into the AI tool. So for instance, if you're using it to help someone's support plan, or if you're putting in confidential information about the company you work for, or even personal information about yourself, such as your health information. So we have 3 strategies for dealing with this. Firstly, we strongly recommend companies invest in a secure AI product with privacy protections built in. At My Life, My Voice, for example, we use ChatGPT Teams, but there are lots of other options available. On the screen here, it shows a note, OpenAI doesn't use My Life, My Voice workspace data to train its models. So that means that we know we can enter confidential information into this ChatGPT tool safely. If your organization provides this kind of tool, you're already set. But if you're not sure, please do ask. For instance, if you have the normal paid version of ChatGPT, which is called ChatGPT Plus, that version does not keep your information secure. So you do want to make sure. However, if this isn't an option for you at the moment, many tools have a mode that doesn't retain the information that you put into it. In ChatGPT, it's called temporary mode. In other models, it might be called something like incognito mode or no history. So you'll just need to check for the particular tool that you're using it in. So in ChatGPT, if I go to the top right-hand side, there's a circle with dotted lines. If I tap or click on that, you will see that the box for writing has now turned black, and ChatGPT says temporary mode, memory is disabled for this chat, and it won't appear in your history. So this means that it's not going to retain anything that you put into it. Another option is to anonymize information before you enter it into the AI tool. For instance, I have meeting notes for a pretend client Daniel Reed in Microsoft Word. If I click Ctrl+H, it will open up the replace box. And then where it says find what, I'm going to write Daniel. And then where it has replace with, I'm going to write Doug. And then I'm just going to choose replace all, and I can see that it has made 12 replacements. Then if I click out of that, I could choose to change, say, for instance, his age. I could change his street name to Carrot Street, and then I could go through and change any other personal or identifiable information in the document. And then when I share this document with ChatGPT, it will be storing anonymized information. When I get the result I want from ChatGPT, I can then just put it back into Word and go through the same process to change the name and other details back to the correct information. We also recommend that you don't give AI tools your passwords, personal IDs, or your private health and financial information, just to be safe. And another thing to note is that AI tools can often identify your location from photos quite easily. So famous people will often wait till they've left a location before they post their photos, just to be safe.
AI can be biased. LLMs like ChatGPT have learned to talk like a human by reading everything on the internet that is open access. The problem is that the internet is full of biases like ableism, sexism, and racism. And sometimes these come through in the results that you get. For example, on the screen here are two images of a holographic AI assistant that ChatGPT gave me. The image of the female form has no clothes on and looks quite sexualized. And this is what I got when I first asked for an image of an AI assistant. I tried a few times to get it to look more professional, but the images were all quite sexual. So then I asked it to change the assistant to a man, and suddenly I got this very professional looking man in a suit. This is an example of bias coming through in the training data. The way that you prompt the AI, or the way that you ask it questions, makes a big difference to the output that you get. So for instance, you can tell it that you only want professional looking images, or that you want a diverse group of people.
AI can be misused. Everything you see online now can be faked. This photo here is of a wall of smartphones that are programmed to interact online. This is known as a bot farm. You can have literally thousands of phones in one bot farm. They're using AI to pretend to be human. So they might be watching a video to get the watch and the light rate up so that then it pushes that video up in the algorithm. Or it might be picking fights with you on Facebook or sharing state propaganda or just trying to push a certain agenda. We recommend treating anything you read or see or hear online or over the phone as potentially fake. Next, we're going to show you a short video which demonstrates how hard it is to tell what is real and what's not real online. For our vision impaired audience, a woman is going to show the realistic looking scenes and viewers are invited to guess what is real and what is AI generated.
In this video, see if you can figure out what's real and what's AI. I'm doing wagons again. Is this wagon real? No, it's AI. Is this bridge real? No, it's AI. Which one's real, the tree or the wagon? The tree! Are these a bunch of AI chickens at this chicken coop? They are AI chickens, and it's an AI chicken coop, so it would make sense. Is this wagon real? Or is it AI? It's real. This lamppost? It's real. Look, there's an AI dog. What about this wagon? It's real. Is this bridge real? Or is it AI? It's real, but I added an AI stream.
We should also talk about scams and deepfakes, because these are becoming a big problem. AI image and video tools are now so good that someone can take a single photo of you, or even just a voice recording, and turn it into something completely different. For example, here's a video I generated of Ingrid from one beach photo. And here's one of me on a boat with a fake whale behind me. Most of the time, people use this tech for harmless or fun things. But unfortunately, some people are creating pornographic images of real people, including children. People have had their faces used without consent, and the results look real enough to cause huge distress. It's easy to think this won't happen to me or my whānau, but AI scams are everywhere now, especially on social media and dating apps. You could get a call from someone that comes up with a real person's caller ID on your phone, and it will sound just like them, and they might tell you that they've been hurt or kidnapped and urgently need money. AI tech can fake caller IDs and people's voices very easily and accurately. We're putting together a separate, more in-depth video for this. For now, the main message is this. Everything you see and hear online, and even over the phone, can be faked. On the flip side of this, there's lots of AI technology that's being used to combat these scammers. We can become over-reliant on AI.
And lastly, you can become reliant on assistive technologies, and if it gets hacked or stop working for any reason, then you could be in trouble. For instance, if you're relying on AI tools to get out of your house safely, how are you going to get out in a power cut? There's also research showing that there's a real risk of something called cognitive atrophy, which was where we become so used to relying on AI tools to doing the thinking work for us that we lose the ability to think for ourselves. The way that you set up and use AI technology makes a huge difference. We'll go into this in more depth in some of our other videos. Staying safe with AI.
So, how do you stay safe? Mostly, it's about keeping in mind the things that we've talked about in this video. Remember these 3 tips. Always assume that AI may have made a mistake and that you'll need to verify the information. Remember that AI hallucinate information and give you unsafe advice. You can prevent it from being overly agreeable in the way that you prompt it. Tell it you want it to critique you and fact check you and invite alternative views. We're going to create another video about this.
AI is amazing at helping you write emails, reports, support plans, and so much stuff. But because AI makes mistakes and hallucinates, you need to check everything before you use it. Never assume it's got things right. In this example, someone was applying for a job and they got a rejection email that says, rejection message, write a warm but generic rejection email that sounds polite yet firm, do not mention the specific reasons for the rejection, and on it goes. This shows someone using an AI tool to write their rejection letters, but they didn't check their emails before sending them off. If you're going to use AI for work, it's not going to be acceptable to say, oh, it's not my fault, the AI made a mistake. It's your responsibility to check it before you use it.
Remember not to share anything private or confidential unless you know that you're using a model that doesn't use the information for its model's learning. Don't give it your passwords. Don't tell it your private details or details of someone that you support. If you wouldn't be happy posting the information on social media, don't put it into your AI. Remember that AI is built on biased data, so watch for bias in the results that you get.
Remember, everything you see and hear online and over the phone now can be fake. We recommend having a conversation with your family somewhere where there are no listening devices around. So leave your phones and your smartwatches inside and go for a walk. And then you can come up with a safe word together. So that way, if you get a call where someone is urgently asking you for money, you can ask for the safe word and you'll know if it's real. In order to avoid cognitive atrophy, you need to be careful not to become too reliant on AI. Don't forget to practice using your brain for tasks regularly, even when it's a task that AI is good at. We recommend using AI to aid your human decision making rather than to replace it. So this means that you use it to help make decisions for you when that's helpful, but not to make your decisions for you. And finally, if it involves your health, safety, financial, or legal situation, check with a human expert. Don't rely on the AI result.
That's the end of our video. AI can do incredible things, but only when we stay informed and use it safely. That way, we make sure that it works for us and not the other way round.
At the end of the day, AI is just a tool. Used wisely, it can make our lives easier, fairer, and more connected. The key is to keep using our judgment and to remember that AI should be working for people, not the other way around.
Keep an eye out for our next videos. We'll be sharing more tips on how to make AI work for you.